Okay, well, maybe we will record audio this time. Okay, get all the glasses. Alright, if this doesn't record the audio, I'm gonna lose it. Hello, my name is Moxie. This is my first video on YouTube. As many of you will know, I am transgender, and I wanted to make a video that kind of went over what that means, what transitioning is, what my goals are for transitioning, what my goals in doing a video like this are, and my plan on moving forward with making more videos, and probably wrap it up. Alright, so a transgendered person is someone whose experienced gender is different than the one they were assigned at birth. There's a pretty good amount of science behind this. I will have links in the description to scientific articles that I've read so that you can see that I'm not the only one that thinks that. People have thought pretty hard about it and did some experiments, and this is what they came up with. So it's sort of linked to our brains. The evidence so far has sort of shown that a transgendered person's brain is more like the brain of their experienced gender than the brain of the gender they were assigned at birth. If you hear any meowing, that is my cat. He really hates being inside. I'm watching you. Transgender is also sort of a blanket term, which can include genderqueer people, like gender fluid, non-binary, agender. There's a bunch of other ones that I can't think of off the top of my head. There's not really quite as much scientific study on that. I did find a scientific paper that was recently published about it, I think 2015, which found links to there being a difference in the brain makeup. I will try to find that again and put it in the description. I will say, though, that if you're trying to find a reason to beat people up and be mean or rude to them, that the person that might actually have a problem is you. It's just something to think about. Alright, so transitioning. There are two terms I want to talk about here called transition and gender congruence. That's sort of a term that I use. I haven't really heard it used anywhere else. Anyway, so gender congruence is, in my words, the degree to which you feel comfortable with your experience in life and the way that you express yourself when it comes to gender. And transitioning is what you do to get to that. Some people don't need to do very much. I mean, cisgendered people don't really need to do anything usually. They're usually just happy the way that they got put together. But a lot of transgendered people feel just comfortable being able to go by a different pronoun or be able to dress differently and be accepted in their social groups. And a lot of times that's usually enough. For a lot of others, though, they'll go through hormone replacement therapy, which is a hormone regimen that's overseen by a doctor to basically change the hormones that you have in your body. I will be starting my hormone replacement therapy tomorrow, and I'll be doing a video on it. I'm really excited. The last step for a lot of people, but not all, is sexual reassignment surgery. And that's basically they will take your genitals and do the old switcheroo on you. It's a lot riskier for trans men to get that surgery than it is for trans women, so it's more common for trans women to get it. This can also include removing breasts or getting breast enhancements. If you're a trans woman, hormone replacement therapy will help you develop breasts, but a lot of times they tend to be a little smaller, and for some trans women, just like cis women, that is something they like to get enhanced so they feel better about themselves. We don't turn our nose up when cisgendered people get plastic surgery, so I don't really think it's that weird. I'd like to make a pause and realize that cisgender might be a term that you've never heard before, and that basically just means people that are comfortable with the way that they were born when it comes to gender. If you were born and assigned to be a man, you're happy with that and you live your life accordingly. Or the other, if you were born a woman or intersex, that you're happy with the way that you were born and you don't plan on making any transitionary changes. Does that sound good? Okay, there's Jack. So that's sort of just kind of like a really brief description. There are a million places that you can look online. Just Google hormone replacement therapy and you'll get a ton of stuff. So I'd like to talk about my goals for my transition. I have been socially transitioned for 5 months, which means that I express myself outwardly as a woman. I dress more feminine for my culture. I normally do makeup to more sort of like feminize my face to appear more like a woman. I'm not really wearing any makeup right now. I really wanted to kind of do just like a very like open and honest first video about what I look like. So my next goal starts tomorrow, which is hormone replacement therapy. I will be taking testosterone blocker, which my body will still produce testosterone, but it won't be used by my body. And I will also be taking an estrogen patch, which will put more estrogen in my body than it would produce naturally. And that will help me feel more feminine. It will make my body start to develop breasts, and the fat on my body will start to be redistributed to my hips, chest, and cheeks area instead of my belly. So I'll have to say goodbye to the dad bod, but oh well. It will also make my hair growth slow down a bit, which I'm excited for. I'm kind of like a Sasquatch, and I'm really tired of getting razor burn all over my body anytime I want to wear something with no sleeves. It'll also make my skin a lot softer, stuff like that. It will make my male genitalia shrink a little bit because testosterone is a big part of the size there. And my end game really is to get sexual reassignment surgery. That's something that kind of costs a good bit of money. And most doctors like to see that you've lived as your experienced gender for a few years before they will agree to do that for you. So that's really a more far off future goal for me, but I would eventually like to get that. The next thing that I would like to talk about is my goals for this channel. I'm really blessed that I have a mom and siblings that support me. I have a spouse that supports me. She's been my number one fan. I couldn't do it without any of them. And I have a really fantastic group of friends that include other trans people, and then just very, very open-minded, honest-to-goodness, good people. That, you know what, they haven't treated me any differently since I came out to them, and that is exactly what you should do for your friends if they come out as transgender. They're still the same person. Do you agree with that? But I want to use all that positivity I have in my life to make some good resources for trans people that might be hiding. They might be younger in a household where that's not accepted. I want to create some motivational stuff for them. I know what that's like. I grew up in a very religious household. That would have not been acceptable when I was younger. I waited until I was an adult and I was, engaged and I had my own life and was paying my own bills before I came out. So I know what it's like to have to hide, and I know it's not easy. I'd like to create some content that can be, I guess, sort of motivational. I'd really like to use my channel as a way to document my progress so that I can look back and be like, oh man, look at that. Look how far I've come. But I'd also like to be able to share that experience with other people. I know when I started to look online and see other transgender people going through their transitions, that made me feel amazing. Just being able to see other people like me make progress was hugely motivational for me. And I'd like to create some content that is very like inclusive of cisgendered people as well. I feel a lot of times they kind of get left out of the, of a lot of content, just because the content creator or maybe their fan base doesn't feel like they're a relevant part of what's going on. But I disagree. I mean, most of the people in my life are cisgendered, as is the case with most transgendered people. We make up less than 1% of the population. If you want people to kind of open up and warm up to the idea of you being transgender, you are going to have to learn to make the first move and be accommodating. And I would like to do that with my content. I'd also like to show that just because you're transgender doesn't mean that that's all there is to know about you. I am an aspiring chef, an aspiring artist. That's really my code word for I am not really great at either of those things, but I'd like to be. I think I'm a pretty good cook. I ought to be, because that's what I do for a living. And I'd like to do some videos on that. You can have other dreams outside of your transition, because you're still a person, and you still have things that you want to achieve outside of, like, having that gender congruence that we talked about earlier. Maybe some cooking, fun recipe type deal videos, or I'm a huge video game and Dungeons and Dragons nerd. Maybe we could do some of that to give me some variety in video making and some viewing variety for you. Really just to show that, I and every transgender person is the same wants and needs as everyone else does. They just have a little extra baggage that we're taking care of. All right, I think that's pretty much covers everything I wanted to say. So, oh no, that's not true. I know a lot of like the transgendered YouTube video people that are already out there do a lot of kind of like makeup and stuff like that. I personally don't feel like I am as talented as them, so I wholeheartedly recommend looking up just transgender makeup tutorials on YouTube. I will do a couple of mine to just show my regimen, just in case I'm the only person in your sphere. Everyone does it differently, and everything kind of works differently for different people. It's good to see someone that might have your facial structure do makeup. So I will share what I have learned. I'd like to do maybe some interviews with different people to kind of get their perspectives on transgender experience. Like, I'd love to get my mom on here. I will, to kind of, talk about what it's like to raise transgender children, or to get my spouse on here to do a video on what it was like to have your partner come out to you, and like how to be a supportive spouse. Now that's everything that I wanted to say. I'll be back tomorrow with another video going over my first day on hormone replacement therapy, or HRT. I hope that you come back to see that. Thanks for sticking with me to the end. This video was a little longer than I anticipated. Things that you can do to help me are like the video, that way I know that you like it. Share it with other people. Seeing views, even like 10, 20 views, that's enough motivation for me to keep making videos. I really, as long as I'm like helping one person, either work through their transgender issues, or, help explain it in a way that cisgendered people can understand it, that's great. I'll keep making them as long as one person's watching. I'll keep making them. And then subscribing for further updates so that you can see all the videos that I come up with. I'm gonna try to do a bunch. That's gonna sound really good. Alright. Good blood, bad blood, good blood. Around the rugged rock, the ragged rascal ran. Unique New York, a real rare whale. Double bubble gum bubbles double. Eat fresh fried fish at the fish fry. 66 sick chicks. Tie twine to the tree twigs. Which wily wizard wished wicked wishes for Willie? Shy Sarah saw 6 Swiss wristwatches.